$2 billion from my grandmother. And my husband's family, who I've spent 2 years trying to please, are discussing me like I'm a parasite. My name is Emma Clark. Well, Emma Harrison now, though listening to my in-laws, I wonder if they've ever actually accepted that. I'm 28 years old, 6 months pregnant with my first child, and until about 3 hours ago, I thought I was nobody special, just Emma. Orphaned at 16, raised by my grandmother Rose in a small flat in Marrickville. Put myself through university working 3 jobs, met Thomas Harrison at the marketing firm where I worked as an executive assistant, fell in love, got married despite his family's obvious disapproval, and now this. The envelope in my hands contains documents that will change everything. Documents that explain why my grandmother Rose, who I thought was a retired librarian living modestly in Sydney's western suburbs, was actually Rose Thornton, the reclusive billionaire who founded Thornton Industries 50 years ago. Documents that explain why a lawyer called me this morning to inform me that my grandmother had passed away peacefully in her sleep last week at 92, leaving me her entire fortune, $1.2 billion. Properties across Australia and internationally, shares in dozens of companies, art collections, investments, an empire I knew nothing about. I knew we should have insisted Thomas marry Felicity Montgomery, Patricia says through the door. The Montgomerys are proper family, good breeding. Felicity would have been an asset to the Harrison name. Water under the bridge now, Richard responds. We're stuck with the secretary and her anchor baby. Anchor baby. They think I got pregnant to trap Thomas into staying married to me. The truth is so much more complicated. I got pregnant accidentally. Thomas and I had been trying to be careful. We'd agreed to wait a few more years before having children, wanting to establish our careers first. But accidents happen, and when I found out, I was terrified. Not because I didn't want the baby, but because I knew exactly how Thomas's family would react. They'd already made it clear I wasn't good enough for their son. Patricia had pulled me aside at our wedding reception to inform me that girls like you usually don't last in families like ours. She'd offered me money to annul the marriage, $200,000 to disappear quietly. I'd refused because I loved Thomas, because I believed our marriage was real, that his love for me was stronger than his family's disapproval. But over the past 2 years, that belief has been slowly eroding. Thomas has changed. Or maybe he hasn't changed. Maybe I'm just finally seeing who he really is. The charming man who swept me off my feet has become someone who apologizes constantly for his family's behavior, but never actually stands up to them. Someone who forgot to tell his parents we were trying to buy a house in Newtown because they wouldn't understand why we'd want to live there instead of the North Shore. Someone who suggested I quit my job after we got married because Harrison wives don't work, and when I refused, started making comments about how my career was cute but not really necessary. Someone who, when I told him I was pregnant, went completely silent for 5 minutes before saying, "Are you sure you want to keep it?" "We could. We have options." I'd been shocked. "Thomas, this is our baby. Of course I want to keep it." "I just mean, the timing isn't great. My parents are going to—" He'd stopped himself. "Never mind. If you want to keep it, we'll make it work." If I want to keep it, like it was only my decision, only my responsibility. And his parents' reaction had been exactly as bad as I'd feared, accusatory, suspicious, convinced I'd done this deliberately to secure my position in the family. The obstetric appointment today was supposed to be a routine checkup. Thomas couldn't make it, a critical business meeting that his father had insisted he attend. So his parents offered to drive me to the hospital, which I'd foolishly accepted, thinking maybe this was an olive branch. Instead, they dropped me off at the entrance and went to get coffee, leaving me to check in alone, get examined alone, see my baby's ultrasound alone. But I'd received the lawyer's call just as I was being called back for my appointment. He'd asked me to come to his office immediately. It was urgent, regarding my grandmother's estate. I'd rescheduled the obstetric appointment and taken a taxi to Morrison & Associates in the CBD, where Mr. Morrison had sat me down and explained that my grandmother, the woman who'd raised me in a modest flat, who'd clipped coupons and shopped at discount stores and insisted we didn't need luxuries, had actually been one of Australia's wealthiest women. "She wanted you to have a normal childhood," Mr. Morrison had explained. "She didn't want wealth to define you or change you. She wanted you to know what it meant to work hard, to earn things, to appreciate value. That's why she never told you about the money. But why hide it? Why live so modestly? Because Rose Thornton was a remarkable woman who'd seen what wealth did to people. She'd built her fortune from nothing, and she'd watched other wealthy families destroy themselves with greed and entitlement. She wanted better for you. He'd handed me the envelope. She left everything to you, with one condition, that you use this opportunity to discover who you really are, outside of anyone else's expectations or limitations. Her words, from her will. And now I'm sitting in this hospital waiting room, listening to my in-laws discuss me like I'm worthless, and I'm holding documents that prove I'm worth more than the entire Harrison family fortune. The irony is almost funny. Almost. The door opens. Patricia and Richard emerge, both dressed impeccably. Patricia in Chanel, Richard in a bespoke suit. Nothing too extravagant, perhaps 3 or 4 million. We'll also establish a trust fund for the child's education. That's very generous. Yes, well, it's important that Harrison children are raised properly. Of course, there will be certain expectations. You'll need to present yourself appropriately. Join the right clubs. Associate with the right people. We can't have you embarrassing the family. I look at her, really look at her. Patricia Harrison, who spent 2 years making me feel small, who's criticised everything about me, my clothes, my background, my career, my friends, my inability to tell a fish fork from a dessert fork, who, 5 minutes ago, was calling me a gold digger and my baby an anchor. And if I don't want your help? I ask quietly. Patricia's smile tightens. Don't be ridiculous. You're a secretary. Former secretary. I quit, remember, at Thomas's suggestion. Exactly. You have no income, no prospects, no family money. You need us, Emma. The sooner you accept that, the better. Richard nods. We're not trying to be cruel. We're being practical. Thomas is our son. This is our grandchild. We have a responsibility to ensure the child is raised with proper advantages. And those advantages come with strings attached. They come with expectations, Patricia corrects. The same expectations we've always had. You'll need to fit into our world, Emma. Stop this silly insistence on independence and accept your role as a Harrison wife. I take a deep breath. This is the moment. I could tell them right now about the inheritance. Watch their faces change when they realise I'm worth more than they are. But something stops me, because I remember what Mr. Morrison said, what my grandmother wanted, for me to discover who I really am, outside of anyone else's expectations. And right now, my husband's family expects me to be grateful, compliant, desperate for their approval and money. What if I just wasn't? Thank you for the offer, I say carefully. I'll discuss it with Thomas. There's nothing to discuss, Patricia says firmly. This is how things are going to be, for the good of the family. I said I'll discuss it with Thomas. Patricia's eyes narrow. You're being very stubborn about this, Emma. Very ungrateful. Am I? I thought I was being a responsible wife, wanting to consult my husband before making major decisions about our family's future. Richard checks his watch. We need to go. We have a function at the yacht club. Emma, we'll arrange to view houses next week. Patricia will be in touch. They leave without offering me a ride home. I'm 6 months pregnant, standing alone in a hospital lobby, and they don't even ask if I need help getting home. I take a taxi back to the apartment Thomas and I share in Surrey Hills, a place his parents have never visited because it's too urban, too working class, not the kind of neighbourhood where Harrison family members live. The apartment is empty. Thomas is still at his critical business meeting. I sit on our IKEA sofa. Patricia had almost fainted when she saw we had IKEA furniture instead of antiques, and I open the envelope again. The documents detail everything. Properties, a mansion in Point Piper, a penthouse in Melbourne, a villa in the south of France, a townhouse in London. Investments, majority shares in Thornton Industries, minority shares in dozens of other companies. Assets, art collections, jewellery, bank accounts across multiple countries. And a letter in my grandmother's handwriting. My dearest Emma, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the truth while I was alive. I'm sorry I let you struggle financially, let you work multiple jobs, let you believe we barely had enough. But I needed you to know what it meant to earn things, to value hard work, to understand that money doesn't define worth. You are the strongest, kindest, most genuine person I know. You're strong because life forced you to be. You're kind because you remember what it's like to struggle. You're genuine because no one ever loved you for your money. Now you have wealth. Enormous wealth. More money than you'll ever need. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you let it change you? Will you use it to buy approval from people who should love you unconditionally? Will you let it become a crutch, a shield, an excuse? Or will you use it as a tool to build the life you actually want, to help others, to discover who you really are when financial limitations are removed? I can't tell you what to do, my darling girl, but I can tell you this. Watch how people treat you when they think you're worthless, because that's who they really are. Then decide if those are the people you want in your life. Use this gift wisely. Use it to be free. All my love, always, Grandma Rose. I'm crying by the time I finish reading. My grandmother, who gave me everything that mattered but nothing I didn't need, had known exactly what she was doing. She'd let me struggle so I'd be strong. Let me work so I'd be humble. Let me marry into a family that looked down on me so I'd see their true character. And now she's given me the power to choose, stay or go, accept their conditions or set my own, be the grateful daughter-in-law they want or be the woman my grandmother raised me to be. Thomas comes home 3 hours later, looking exhausted. Hey, how was the appointment? I had to reschedule. Why? Is everything okay with the baby? The baby's fine. I had to meet with a lawyer. He looks alarmed. A lawyer? Emma, what's going on? Are you leaving me? The fact that his mind goes there immediately tells me something. No, I had to meet with my grandmother's estate lawyer. Your grandmother? I thought she passed away last week. I'm sorry, by the way. I know I should have come to the funeral, but Dad needed me for a business meeting. I know. You've told me. I take a breath. Thomas, did you know my grandmother was wealthy? He looks confused. What? No, she lived in Marrickville in that tiny flat. She was a librarian or something, right? That's what I thought. But it turns out she was Rose Thornton, founder of Thornton Industries. Thomas stares at me. That's not possible. Rose Thornton was. She's one of the richest women in Australia. Yes, and she was my grandmother, and she left everything to me. Everything? $1.2 billion. Properties, investments, companies, everything. Thomas sits down heavily on the IKEA sofa his mother despises. Emma, this is incredible. We're rich. His face flushes. You weren't supposed to hear that. But she said it, and you've known all along that she thinks this about me, about our baby, and you've never defended me. Not once in 2 years have you actually stood up to your family for me. That's not fair. I love you. Do you? Because lately it feels like you love the idea of me. The convenient wife who quit her career to support yours, who doesn't complain when your mother criticizes her, who's grateful for whatever scraps of attention the Harrison family tosses her way. Emma, that's not... Your parents didn't even offer me a ride home today. I'm 6 months pregnant with their grandchild, and they left me alone at the hospital with no way to get home. Did you know that? He looks ashamed. I should have been there. I'm sorry. You're always sorry. But sorry doesn't change anything. Sorry doesn't make your mother stop treating me like I'm worthless. Sorry doesn't make your father stop calling our baby an inconvenience. Sorry doesn't make you actually stand up for your wife and child. What do you want me to do? I want you to choose, your family or me, your mother's expectations or our marriage, the North Shore life they've planned for us or the life we actually want. That's not fair. I can't just cut off my family. I'm not asking you to cut them off. I'm asking you to set boundaries, to tell your mother she can't talk about me that way, to tell your father our baby is wanted and loved, to stop apologizing for their behavior and start defending your wife. Thomas is quiet for a long moment. And if I can't do that, my heart sinks, because that's my answer right there. If he can't, not if he won't, if he can't, he's already chosen. He chose a long time ago. I just didn't want to see it. Then I need to figure out what's best for me and our baby, I say quietly. Emma, please, don't make any rash decisions. You're emotional right now. I'm not emotional. I'm clear-headed for the first time in 2 years. Thomas, I've spent our entire marriage trying to be good enough for your family, trying to fit into their world, trying to earn their approval. And today I realized I don't need their approval. I don't need their money or their house or their expectations. Because you inherited billions? No, because I finally remembered who I am. My grandmother raised me to be strong, independent, genuine, and somewhere along the way, I forgot that. I let your family make me feel small. Let them convince me I needed them. You do need me, Thomas says, and there's something desperate in his voice. Emma, we're having a baby together. We're married. You can't just... I can do whatever I want, Thomas. That's the point. For the first time in my life, I have the financial freedom to make choices based on what I actually want, not what I can afford or what other people expect. So, what do you want? I think about this carefully. What do I want? I want a partner who defends me, a husband who puts our family first, a father who's excited about our baby, not apologetic about the timing. I want to be myself again. Emma Clark, who worked 3 jobs and put herself through university and didn't take shit from anyone. Not Emma Harrison, the grateful secretary who married above her station. I want space, I tell Thomas. I need time to think, to figure out what kind of life I want to build for our baby. Where will you go? I don't know yet, but Thomas, I need you to understand something. Your family offered to buy us a house with strings attached. I don't need their house. I inherited a mansion in Point Piper. They offered to establish a trust fund for our baby. I can fund our child's entire education without touching the interest on my investments. They offered to help me present appropriately. I can buy Chanel couture if I want to. I just choose not to because I don't need expensive clothes to know my worth. I stand, gathering my things. I'm not a gold digger, Thomas. I'm a billionaire who married your family thinking love mattered more than money. I was wrong. To your family, money is all that matters. Status, appearances, being better than other people. That's not true, isn't it? Your mother offered me $200,000 to annul our marriage at our wedding. Did you know that? His face goes white. No, I refused because I loved you, because I believed in us. But Thomas, you've spent 2 years letting your family treat me like I'm not good enough. And now, finding out I'm richer than all of them, it doesn't change anything. I still deserve better than how they've treated me. Emma, please, let's talk about this. We are talking, and I'm telling you I need space, time to think, to decide what kind of life I want for our child. I take my purse, my phone, the envelope from the lawyer. I'll be in touch about the baby. We'll need to discuss custody, visitation, all of that. But right now, I need to not be here. I leave before he can respond. I take a taxi to the address Mr. Morrison gave me, the Point Piper mansion, my mansion, one of apparently many properties I now own. The taxi driver whistles when we pull up. Someone's doing all right for themselves. Someone's grandmother was very clever, I respond. The house is stunning. Harbour views, multiple stories, the kind of place that would make Patricia Harrison weep with envy. It's also fully staffed. My grandmother apparently kept a permanent housekeeping staff in case she ever wanted to visit. The housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, greets me at the door. Miss Emma, Mr. Morrison called to let us know you'd be staying. Your rooms are ready. My rooms, plural, in my house. I follow Mrs. Chen through the mansion, and it is a mansion, the kind of place I've only seen in magazines, to a suite of rooms on the 2nd floor. Bedroom, sitting room, walk-in closet, ensuite bathroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the harbour. Is there anything you need? Mrs. Chen asks kindly. Tea, I venture, and maybe some advice on how to process inheriting $1 billion. She smiles. I can help with the tea. The advice might take longer. That night, sitting in my mansion, drinking tea, watching the sunset over Sydney Harbour, I finally let myself feel everything. Relief. That I don't have to keep trying to win Patricia's approval. Sadness. That my marriage is probably over. Fear. That I'm going to be a single mother. But also something else. Something I haven't felt in a long time. Freedom. I'm free to make choices based on what I want, not what I can afford. Free to raise my child the way I want, not the way the Harrisons expect. Free to be Emma Clark again. Strong, independent, genuine. The Emma my grandmother raised me to be. My phone rings. Thomas. I'll let it go to voicemail. It rings again, and again, and again. Finally, I answer. Thomas? Emma, my parents want to talk to you. They're very upset about you leaving. They think you're being irrational. Your parents want to talk to me? Not you. Well, I want to talk too, obviously, but Mum is very concerned. About what? That I left? Or that I don't need her anymore? That's not fair. She's worried about you. About the baby. She called our baby an anchor, Thomas. She said I trapped you. She's not worried. She's trying to control the situation. Emma, please, come back. Let's talk about this properly. You can't just run away. I didn't run away. I went to my house. Your grandmother's house? My house. She left it to me, along with everything else. And Thomas, I'm realizing something. Your family has spent 2 years making me feel like I need them, like I should be grateful they accepted me. But I don't need them. I never did. I just thought I did because I loved you and wanted your family to love me too. They do love you. No, they don't. They tolerate me. There's a difference. He's quiet. Thomas, I need you to do something for me. Anything. Tell your parents about my inheritance. What? Why? Because I want to see what happens. I want to know if they suddenly decide I'm acceptable now that I'm wealthy. I want to know if their entire problem with me was just that they thought I was poor. Emma, that's a test, yes, and I have a feeling they're going to fail it. But I need to know for sure. Tell them tonight. Then let me know how they react. I hang up before he can argue. 2 hours later, my phone explodes with messages. Patricia, Emma, darling, we need to talk. Thomas told us about your wonderful news. We had no idea about your grandmother's success. We should celebrate. Lunch tomorrow? Richard, Emma, congratulations on your inheritance. We should discuss investment strategies. The Harrison family has excellent financial advisors. Thomas, my parents want to take us to dinner tomorrow night. At Quay, they're acting weird. Mum keeps talking about how she always knew you came from good stock. And there it is. 2 hours ago, I was a gold-digging secretary with an anchor baby. Now I'm good stock. Now I'm acceptable. Now they want to have lunch, offer advice, celebrate with me. I text Thomas back. Tell your parents I'll think about dinner. But Thomas, do you see what just happened? Do you understand what this means? Thomas, they're trying to be supportive? Me, they're trying to get access to my money. They spent 2 years treating me like garbage because they thought I was poor. Now they know I'm rich and suddenly I'm wonderful. That's not love. That's not family. That's opportunism. Thomas, you're being cynical. Me, I'm being realistic. Your mother offered me money to leave you at our wedding. Today she called me a gold digger. Tonight she's calling me darling and wanting lunch. What changed, Thomas? I'm still the same person. The only difference is now she knows I have money. He doesn't respond. The next morning, Mrs. Chen brings me breakfast in bed, something I've literally never experienced, and the morning newspapers. I'm on the front page of the financial section. Mystery heiress, Rose Thornton's granddaughter inherits billion-dollar empire. The article details my grandmother's remarkable life, her business success, her deliberate privacy. And it mentions me, Emma Clark Harrison, 28, currently pregnant with her first child, married to Thomas Harrison of the Harrison property development family. My phone rings. Mr. Morrison. Miss Emma, I assume you've seen the news coverage. I have. I apologise. We tried to keep this quiet, but one of the junior associates at the firm apparently spoke to a reporter. It won't happen again. It's fine. It was going to come out eventually. Yes, well, you should be prepared. You're going to receive a lot of attention now. People wanting meetings, investments, donations, people from your past reaching out. You'll need security, PR representation, proper financial management. I don't know how to do any of that. Your grandmother anticipated that. She left detailed instructions. If you're willing, I'd like to schedule a meeting this week to discuss next steps. We have a team ready to help you transition into this new role. New role? Like I'm playing a part, which I suppose I am. The day passes in a blur of phone calls. Thomas calls 6 times. Patricia calls 4 times. Richard calls twice. Even Felicity Montgomery, the woman Patricia wanted Thomas to marry, calls to reconnect. I don't answer any of them. Instead, I call Emma Chan, my best friend from university, the one person who knew me before Thomas, before the Harrisons, when I was just Emma Clark working 3 jobs and dreaming of a better life. Holy shit, she says when she answers. I just saw the news. You're Rose Thornton's granddaughter? You're a billionaire? Emma, what the fuck? I know, it's insane. Are you okay? Where are you? At my mansion in Point Piper. Your mansion? Jesus Christ. Emma, I don't even know what this is. It's overwhelming. Emma, can you come over? I need someone who knew me before all this. Someone who won't treat me differently because of money. I'm on my way. Emma Chen arrives an hour later, takes one look at the mansion and starts laughing. This is so weird. You're literally the same person who helped me move apartments last month using a borrowed van, and now you live here. I know, it doesn't feel real. We sit on the terrace overlooking the harbour, and I tell her everything. The inheritance, the Harrisons' reaction, leaving Thomas, the newspaper coverage. So, what are you going to do? She asks. I don't know. Part of me wants to go back to Thomas, try to make it work. We're having a baby together. And the other part? Wants to burn it all down, tell the Harrisons exactly what I think of them, show them I never needed their approval or their money, build a life on my own terms. I vote for option 2. But the baby... We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Emma, you can provide everything that child needs. Financially, emotionally, everything. You don't need Thomas for that. The question is, do you still love him? I think about this carefully. I love who I thought he was. The man who swept me off my feet, who made me laugh, who told me we'd build a life together. But that man hasn't existed in a long time. The real Thomas, the one who lets his mother bully me, who apologises but never changes anything, I don't know if I love that Thomas. Then you have your answer. That evening, I agree to have dinner with Thomas. Just the two of us, no parents. We meet at a small restaurant in Surrey Hills, neutral territory, the kind of place the Harrisons would never go. Thomas looks exhausted. Emma, thank you for meeting me. Of course, we need to talk. My parents are driving me insane. Mum has called 15 times asking when you'll come to lunch. Dad wants to schedule a meeting with his financial advisors. They're acting like nothing happened. Because to them, nothing did. They hated me when they thought I was poor. Now they know I'm rich and suddenly I'm acceptable. Thomas, don't you see how messed up that is? I see it. But Emma, they're still my parents. I can't just cut them off. I'm not asking you to cut them off. I'm asking you to set boundaries, to tell them their behaviour is unacceptable, to put our family, you, me, our baby, first. I'm trying. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're still trying to please everyone. Keep the peace, make your parents happy while keeping me happy. But Thomas, you can't do both. Not when your parents fundamentally don't respect me. He's quiet for a long moment. What if I talk to them, really talk to them, tell them they need to treat you better? And if they don't change? Then I don't know. That's the problem, Thomas. You don't know. You're not willing to make a choice. And I can't build a life with someone who won't choose me. That's not fair. I do choose you. Do you? Because 2 years ago, when your mother offered me money to leave, you didn't choose me. You didn't even know it happened. When your father called our baby an anchor, you didn't choose me. You apologised but never confronted him. When I heard your mother calling me a gold digger at the hospital, you didn't choose me. You said I wasn't supposed to hear it. I'm not perfect, Emma. I'm trying to navigate an impossible situation. It's only impossible because you're trying to please everyone. Thomas, when are you going to understand? You can't have it both ways. Either you set boundaries with your parents and build a life with me, or you keep trying to please them and lose me. You'd really leave? Take our baby and leave. I'd really choose what's best for our child. And right now, I don't think it's best for our baby to grow up watching their father constantly apologise for his mother's cruelty. I don't want our child to learn that love means accepting abuse, that family means tolerating people who make you feel worthless. Thomas looks devastated. I love you. I know you do. But Thomas, love isn't enough. Not when it comes without respect, without boundaries, without the willingness to actually protect the people you love. So what now? Now I need time, space, to figure out what kind of life I want to build. For me and our baby. Can I see you? Can we do counselling or something? Maybe, eventually, but right now I need to focus on myself, on being the person my grandmother raised me to be. Strong, independent, not willing to accept less than I deserve. And I'm less than you deserve? You could be everything I deserve, Thomas, but not while you're still trying to live up to your parents' expectations instead of your own values. I leave him sitting at the table, looking lost. Over the next few weeks, I begin to build my new life. Mr. Morrison introduces me to the team my grandmother assembled: financial advisors, lawyers, PR specialists, security personnel. They help me understand the scope of my inheritance, the responsibilities that come with it. I start learning about Thornton Industries, the company my grandmother built. It's primarily focused on sustainable technology and green energy. My grandmother was apparently an environmental pioneer decades before it was fashionable. And I discover I have a talent for it. The business sense, the strategic thinking, the ability to see opportunities. It was always there. I just never had the chance to develop it because I was too busy supporting Thomas's career. I also start planning for the baby. I have time now. Resources. I can create the perfect nursery, hire the best doctors, prepare properly. Emma Chen moves into one of the guest suites in the mansion. Just temporarily, she insists, until you figure everything out. But having her there helps. She knew me before the money, treats me the same as always, keeps me grounded. Thomas calls regularly. Sometimes I answer. Sometimes I don't. His parents call constantly. I never answer. But I do agree to one meeting. 6 weeks after leaving Thomas, I arranged to meet Patricia and Richard at a cafe in the city. They arrived dressed impeccably as always. Patricia air kisses me. "Emma, darling, you look wonderful. Pregnancy suits you." The same woman who called me a gold digger 6 weeks ago is now calling me darling. I order tea. They order coffee. We sit. "I assume you wanted to meet to discuss the baby," I say. "Among other things," Richard says smoothly, "we wanted to apologise for any misunderstandings. We may have been too hasty in our initial reactions to the pregnancy news." Too hasty? "We were surprised," Patricia explains, "caught off guard. We may have said some things we didn't mean." Like calling me a gold digger? Calling our baby an anchor? Patricia has the grace to look uncomfortable. "I was upset. I didn't mean." "Yes, you did. You meant every word, because you thought I was poor and worthless. But now you know I'm wealthy, so suddenly I'm acceptable." That's not true, isn't it? Patricia, you offered me $200,000 to annul my marriage to Thomas at our wedding. You called me a secretary who was trying to trap your son. You spent 2 years criticizing everything about me, my clothes, my career, my background, my friends, and the only thing that changed is that now you know I have money. Richard clears his throat. "Emma, we acknowledge we may have made some errors in judgment, but we're family now. We should move forward together." "Family?" I laugh. "You spent 2 years making it clear I wasn't family. I was an inconvenience, an embarrassment, someone you tolerated because Thomas insisted on being with me." "We want to make amends," Patricia says. "We'd like to be involved with the baby, help you prepare. Perhaps we could host a baby shower." "Let me be very clear about something," I say calmly. "I don't need your help. I don't need your money. I don't need your connections or your social status or your approval. I never did. I just thought I did because I loved your son and wanted his family to love me." "We do love you." "No, you don't. You love my money. You love the idea of being connected to the Thornton fortune. You love telling your friends that your daughter-in-law is Rose Thornton's heir. But you don't love me. You don't even know me." Patricia's mask slips slightly. "So what are you saying? That we can't see our grandchild?" "I'm saying that any relationship you have with my child will be on my terms. You will treat me with respect. You will not criticize my parenting choices. You will not try to control how I raise my baby. And if you violate any of those terms, you'll be cut off completely." "You can't do that." "I absolutely can. I have unlimited resources and excellent lawyers. If I decide you're not good for my child, you'll never see them. So I suggest you decide right now whether you want to actually be grandparents or whether you want to keep playing power games." Richard and Patricia exchange glances. They're not used to being dictated to, not used to someone having more power than they do. "We want to be grandparents," Richard finally says. "Then start acting like it. Show me you can treat me with basic human decency. Show me you're capable of putting my child's well-being above your social expectations. Prove you've actually changed." "And Thomas?" Patricia asks. "What about our son?" "That's between me and Thomas, but I'll tell you what I told him. I won't build a life with someone who won't stand up for me. If Thomas wants our marriage to work, he needs to set boundaries with you. If he can't do that, we're done." I stand. "Thank you for the tea. I'll be in touch about meeting the baby after they're born. Maybe." I leave them sitting there, Patricia's face flushed with rage, Richard looking calculating. Let them stew. Let them wonder. Let them experience what it's like to have no power. 3 months later, I give birth to a daughter, 7 pounds, healthy, perfect. I name her Rose after my grandmother. Thomas is there for the birth. He's been working with a therapist, trying to understand why he struggles to set boundaries with his parents. We're not back together, but we're trying to co-parent. She's beautiful, he whispers, holding Rose for the first time. Emma, thank you. For what? For not giving up on me completely. For giving me a chance to be a good father, even if I wasn't a good husband. You can still be a good husband, Thomas, but only if you're willing to actually choose us. I'm trying. I've told my parents they need to earn access to Rose, that their behaviour has to change. And Mum threw a fit. Dad tried to negotiate, but I held firm. Emma, I told them no. Actually told them no. For the first time in my life, I put my foot down. How did that feel? Terrifying, but also right. Over the following months, Thomas slowly becomes the man I thought I married. He sets boundaries with his parents. He puts Rose first. He starts standing up for me. And Patricia and Richard, they're trying. Not perfectly. They'll probably never fully accept that I don't need them. But they're learning to be grandparents on my terms. Because here's what they finally understand. I don't need the Harrison name or money or approval. I'm Emma Clark Harrison, Rose Thornton's granddaughter, billionaire, mother, woman who knows her worth. And no one, not Thomas's parents, not anyone, will ever make me feel small again.